Also, this browser right here represents the Root 1 system.
This is my phone. You can see me on the phone.
Yep.
And then yeah.
Well, just to introduce everybody here, we're the Code Avengers. We gave each other nicknames to us, Captain America. We have Iron Man here. And then we have Captain Marvel, Spider-Man, and the Hulk.
A plus on me.
All right, so we basically, it was a really good practice for us through this whole weekend adventure, and even more so before when we were kind of going through the ideation process. We originally were thinking of some way of helping dealership users use the Route 1 system, and we kind of landed on a signing app, and that was one of the first ideas. And we were starting to think about the pros and cons, and then we started thinking about other ideas that we had, and that changed into and evolved into data entry and how the user interacts with our system, and we started getting into like scanning, like driver's license scanning. So basically it evolved into what we're presenting today, and it was, we just had a good time going through that process, and it was neat to see how quickly things evolved into our product that ended up becoming the winning product for the competition here. So again, like through that thought process, for me being more in the user experience, I really wanted to just kind of transform the way that humans interacted with our system, and with the ideas that we had, we kind of created this really great experience. But in order to create a good experience, we had to think about the user and some of the complications that they have, and also some of the core topics that they deal with when or what they work with when they're working in our system. And one of the big ones was authentication. We know that that's a huge problem right now with support. A lot of phone calls come in about people having to manage their passwords, the whole tokenized, sending somebody an email token and having to authenticate. And, especially with browsers, always remembering our password for us, we just forget about it. We'll set it up and it'll just, So, but anyway, so with this screen, we all have a lot of things going through our head when we see it. We might be excited because we're starting a productive day. We have a lot of credit apps to get through, or maybe we're having a little anxiety. We all have that same question going through our head, which is, what is my password?
I know I do.
Yeah. So that was the authentication piece to it. The other big topic that we know that users are constantly working with is just data entry. That's a huge part of working our system. It's inputting customer names, vehicle data, documents, etc. So, and that's our whole system here is just all just data fields, just input after input after panel after panel after panel, and just over time it's just going to really wear down on poor Harold here, who's been working around the system all day. So this one kind of came up too through the evolution of our app, which we weren't really aware of until we were kind of touching base with a few, the leadership, and then also the business representatives, and we found that identity is also an issue, and security with Route 1 users, and trying to make sure how do I know that when I'm getting a potential customer's data that that same data is being used across multiple dealerships at the same time. So here's Harold, Hide the Pain Harold is his name here. He's going to buy a car, and little does he know that his information is all over the internet. So we have other people who know that he's buying a car, and we try to run his credit at the same time, or try to apply and buy other cars at the same time that he is. So with all those processes and everything that we kind of put together, we thought, let's create a mobile solution, and we created the Route 1 system here, which is created by us here, and we touch all those key topics of authentication, scanning and syncing, and security. And I tried thinking of a clever marketing acronym for this, and I just kind of fell on my bottom there for that. So the first piece of the puzzle here is how we authenticate without username and passwords. So we came across some really cool technology. It's called SQRL, and what it is it's a unique way to interact with the website without actually having to type in your username and password, because what happens is when you have an account through the SQRL, your password and all your information is being generated into a randomized QR code. So that's only specific to this particular site. So this being route1.net, we can see this QR code that's being randomly generated here, and we can even refresh that, and you can see that it is changing here. So, and how that works is we would then take the app, and in order to authenticate, we just hold our app up to the screen, and let's see, watch the magic happen here. So it knows that because I'm logged into my phone and this is really me, I have the app, and then now that the QR code it has married to the app, it knows that it's safe for me to come in here. All right, so here's the Route 1. We could call this like the deal manager or the desktop, or it's basically just a table to show us how data is in a database here in our system. And now we're going to go through the demonstration of how Route 1 Assistant app works here by showing me as the customer. Gopi is going to be either our sales manager or F&I manager. Now that he's logged into the Route 1 system, he's going to collect my information here to my driver's license.
Yeah, so we have three options here. First one is driver's license. When a customer walks in, dealer just takes his app, take a photo or a snap at this driver's license, and then it actually checks whether it's a driver's license. There will be a pop-up that says not a valid ID. Only if it's a valid ID, it will take him to scan the barcode of this driver's license.
You can see in the Route 1 system here, the picture has been isolated and set as a data point, and also as a document here is now loaded as a picture in the system here.
Just need the lights.
Yeah, it's within the lights.
Switches behind you.
Okay, it just needs to focus.
Yeah, so
There it goes. Okay.
Okay.
So now you can see my information, my customer information is now being populated in real time in our system here as a prospect. Here's my info.
The next step is the customer goes to the parking lot, dealer takes in the parking lot and gets the vehicle. So all the dealer has to do is that, what's the car?
Behind the
That is over there. So
It's in the parking.
So here's the car that I bought. And every car has a VIN on it with a barcode.
So this barcode, like it's from the dealer inventory. So once he scans this barcode, there it is. So the vehicle information will be populated there. And the document, you see there is a document here which is actually the driver's license register. It's also uploaded and that's there. So, yeah.
Yep, and then lastly, say I want to take the vehicle for a ride, so they needed my driver's license and stuff anyway, and now I have to sign a consent form here, or any documentation, whatever the dealership process would be, and we would then also have once the customer signs that, we would enter it into the system.
So there. This one.
So now this is just, what's the first one? There we go. So this is just kind of a way to show how we can get documents just as a file, any file type at all, from our app into the system using a synchronous database that's out in the cloud, which is also scalable. I think we can get into those details in a second here. So we went through scanning the ID, scanning the vehicle data, and scanning documents. And then also, we can talk more, just real quickly here, about the real-time sync that's happening here. So it's real-time data sync with Route 1, ability to sync images, documents, files, and data within the database. There's no time difference between fetching data record from a table with 100,000 records or 100 million records. And what's the name of the technology we're using for this?
It's a Firebase.
Firebase, which is a Google product, right? It's a cloud.
Yes, it's a cloud product.
Yep.
So if you would have seen that like there's a website and there's a mobile app, dealer is with the customer with the mobile app. As soon as he scans that, the website gets updated automatically. Nobody is refreshing the website. I scan the license which is there in the web page and I scan. So when the dealer just comes back and says his lookout is just all the details are there for him to work with. So everything is synced in real time. So the database, whenever data updated in the database, it syncs the data across all the devices which is connected to the database. So that's the Firebase which we think, and because it has us all the data. So if you have a million records or a billion record, it will still gives back the results in a few milliseconds. So that's what Google claims. So that's a cloud database which we use.
So therein lies the fraud detection functionality, right? So
Which we're about to demonstrate right now. Yep.
Okay.
So
Absolutely.
yeah, so you could see that like we are not just like taking the photo of this. It actually scans this, find out whether it is the right ID, and if it's the right ID, it will crop the face, and that face will be your profile face over there. Like that face is from the driving license. It knows like where is the face. It can identify what type of face is it, what type of document it is, and we are going to demonstrate that now.
Yep. So we used an AI cloud service that actually could recognize, and that's how we were able to isolate the face picture using our facial recognition technology, and it isolates that picture. And then also, what we did with the fraud was we're now going to use that service to test against other documents to see if that's really checking like a true identity or not.
So for the fraud detection. So let's just show like one flow of the fraud detection where a new customer comes in, and so we will try to.
Hang on one second. Let's get the app up so we can see what we're.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Oh, no worries.
So
Oops.
yes, that is the app, right? So on the screen, which is
Here we go.
yeah,
There we go.
that's
Okay.
the one. So this is the screen, and right now there's no data, so we will try to take the driver's license. So just want to see like that's the AI working behind it. Instead of taking a driver's license, if I take a photo of my hand, it will show us saying error saying that's not a valid identity. It detected a finger or a hand, nails, electronic device, which is something behind it. So it's actually like AI scans the whole photo which we takes, and only if it's a valid ID it will upload, because that button says a valid driver's license. Maybe you're not clear. The first button says like a valid ID. So let's scan the valid ID now. So once I'll try to scan the photo of this guy. Yeah, that's it. I'll take one more. It's fine. And once it detects it's a valid ID, then it allows me to scan the driver's license. There it is. This is a bit fast. And as and when I take it, there it is, the customer information, his name is Sai Pratap, and his document, which is his driver's license, and all the details are over there. What if suppose he is kind of a fraudster, he goes with different name to different dealership, and I have a
So this is his same information but a different, or same picture but different information?
same picture with
Okay,
different information.
so this is somebody, yeah, that's still his,
So this license has different information. It's a different name and different license number, data, everything is different, but the face is same. So let's try to see like what happens. So there is his face, and his face should be there on the website now. Yeah, okay, there it is, and then we'll try to scan the barcode. That's the barcode. And yeah, so as soon as it detects there is a same person, it detects the face, but the details are different, the license number is different. Immediately like there is AI working behind, and it checks compares the face. If the face is same but all the other details are wrong, and suddenly it throw an alert. Right now for fancy stuff we put on fraud, but it can be an alert, but dealer can go back and check which one is the real, and then he can catch the fraud right there. This is happening synchronously, which is in real time.
right, which is usually the window of time where most fraud is being taken place, where there's not as much like time in between. I guess it's like it would be like a same day deal or something like that. We'd be able to check against the database in real time. And we also had a check in place too for different faces with the same information. that would test against too, but I don't know if we have that for the demonstration today.
We don't have that, but I will try. So with I'll take my photo, but with Tim. So Tim's Edwards details are already there. What if a different customer, like or a different person, like me, stole his identity, going to the dealership with us at Tim Edwards? So that's the most common fraud. This one will happen when the back end, so it will take 10 minutes or so, but I'll try. Let's see how long it takes. Now I added a new customer as a dealer, and I'm going there to scan my driver's license.
This is actually extra credit right here. We
Yeah.
going through like another test of fraud. We have this built in, but I know that it may take a minute to actually work.
So let's see.
Light. No, light.
Yes, the lights component. Oh, come on. Is it my face? It's my camera, so
Let's just take a second.
yeah, I suppose it's a. And just took my face over there. Instead of now, I'm going to take Tim Edwards license, and the details all are like Tim Edwards. So there, it's supposed to be asynchronous process, which takes on like every few minutes. So there it is. This is a second type of fraud where which did not. I thought we did not work on the main day. Actually, it's asynchronous, but it takes some time. So here it worked now. So it's
Very cool.
yeah, so this is we already have Tim Edwards with this license. Now there is a different Tim Edwards, but the face is different. Obviously, like some other guy is trying to steal some other identity, so that's a fraud alert there. So this is the fraud detection which we have, and
So let me ask, if you don't mind,
Sure.
asking a couple questions. Let's say you scan the back of a driver's license and the code, the box there is just made up.
and I was about to talk about that. So there are like few other fraud identity which we come up with, but we don't have time because of lack of time. We didn't do it. One is that the barcode data should match the data on the front of the ID card. So that is the third type of fraud alert which we wanted to make, but like because of lack of time, we did only this.
So let me just ask this question. So the barcode in the back would compare to an OCR on the front?
Yes.
Okay,
So
got it.
that's also one thing is possible. So let's do that. Like I'm detecting the what type of document is this, right? And it can at the same time I can also detect like what are the text on the front. So I can take that and compare with the what is the barcode data here, and then we can compare both. That's also one kind of fraud detection which makes we can catch that right away, making sure tells the leadership that like you should be aware of this guy.
So just so I'm clear, you can take facial recognition based on a photograph
Yes.
and compare it to the data,
Yes.
right? So the data where does the data come from when you scan the barcode in the back?
This barcode, actually all the license barcode data is here. It's
Yes.
already included. So
And
this
where-
barcode contains all our driver license data.
It's all in the barcode?
Yes.
It decodes.
It's
It
all in the
decodes.
barcode. Yes, it
And then
decodes
that's
all.
a publicly available decoder?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, got it. Okay, understood.
It's all happened in the phone, so it's publicly available. It's called PDF 14. PDF 14. 417. Yeah, 417.
so-
That's the format of this barcode. So
Is the picture also in that code?
no,
No.
picture
No.
is not there.
Okay,
It's
just
only
the data.
That's the reason we need to go for this.
Got it. Okay,
That's the reason we
understood.
need to go for
On
this.
the back of the driver's license, it clearly tells what data is in the barcode. I mean, beside the barcode, clearly it's in.
It's all the details over here, without the face.
Understood. So here's a use case that you probably did consider, and that is it's fairly prevalent for a junior and senior to try to affect an application. So junior goes in and uses senior's credit information, and that would detect that, right? Because they'd be applying as senior, but in fact they would be junior.
And there are like other cool features which want to tell the face recognition, right? It actually can detect approximate age of the person who is on the photo.
Interesting.
So that's also like it's a cloud service provided by Microsoft. So it can detect what gender he is or she is. It can detect what is the age, approximate age when that photo was taken. We can even compare that with the data on the driver's license, because every driver's license is every 3 years or so. That is the fourth kind of fraud which we want to catch. And there's also fifth, which I had in my mind is that the same customer, which is same, everything is same, but he just go on buying a car from every other dealerships.
Sure.
In a very short amount of time. Within a month, he just go to 10 dealerships and book 10 different cars.
Right.
And then like after a month, he just like abscond. So that's all the fifth kind of fraud detections. So we had all these things in mind. We just like exhibited what we could do it in the 3 days. So
No,
yeah.
that last use
Last
case is one that is of particular concern and interest from our four owners. They were looking for some form of real-time detection if a person is trying to finance or purchase multiple cars at multiple dealerships.
yes, so in a particular duration of time,
Right.
maybe in 3 months.
So the other question I had is, you have this information from the driver's license. Do you ever compare it to the credit bureau information? That would pick up the junior, senior use case.
Yes, right now as part of this product we did not do, but like yes, we could integrate with the credit bureau information with Route 1. So this was built as a two-way thing. One, if it can use it within the Route 1 system, we can
Sure.
directly push data to Route 1. Or this can live with the dealership itself. Dealership, once his prospect is ready, so probably over here, once he collects all the details like vehicle and all those information, we can have a button like export to Route 1 and then it exports to Route 1, and that's the other option we have. I also want to put a voice recognition in this, but again, like it was partially done, so we stopped it.
Yeah, so the point I was trying to make is, in the Route 1 database, we would have a social security number.
Yes.
A social security number would come back to a real person. Let's say senior, Daniel John Doman Senior, and Daniel John Doman Jr. is applying for credit in the name of senior. You'd have to match it against the credit bureau information in order to detect that. You couldn't do it on driver's license alone.
Yes, we need a social security number.
Right.
I think that would be the next stop then for like a feature that we would put in would be, to scan those social security card and extract those numbers and include that into the customer, the deal data that's being, checked against, or even just entered into our system. So, but mainly like the point and the things that we covered though are like the pretty much almost like a keyboard and mouse free, user experience within the Route 1 system of authentication, data entry, which covers, like the driver's license or social security card, vehicle information, and then also we discussed the fraud and the security part of it as well. So, but there is just one more thing here that we wanted to show you guys here. Let's pull the app up. So, Gopi being the salesperson, I'm the customer here. We've already interacted, we've kind of set up a deal, but oh my gosh, I forgot I have to go pick the kids up. I gotta run, and I don't have his contact information at all. So within this app, we created a way to generate a V card, which is basically a business card contact. So do we have somebody that has like an iPhone that I can use Nancy here real quick?
Yeah. I'm gonna unlock it, I presume.
Just camera. Just put it in your camera.
Okay.
Or can
You can just scan it.
just scan it from here. Okay.
Yeah, you can
Oh,
type
here we
right
go.
there.
Yep. Okay. So now, as I use the default iOS camera here, a pop-up happens and adds a contact right into your contact list here. Okay, which is Gopinath. Now, say Gopi's like, hey, wait a second, this Gopinath's too hard to remember here, so let's just do Gopi. So he's gonna change his name here, shorten his name, and then it's gonna generate a brand new QR code. So go ahead and pull up your camera app again.
Okay.
There you go. And then you should see a card pop up that says new contact information as Gopi. Yep. So in real time, you can change your contact info and visually transfer it to somebody else on their phone, right into their contacts without any inputs at all. So that was it. That was the.
Well, so let me just give you my impressions. First of all, as I said to the Bits and Bytes, congratulations, you guys have done outstanding work. So you should be very proud of your efforts. You did a great job. And then secondly, for immediate application of this type of app, it would solve the remote authentication, remote delivery issue that many finance sources are currently looking at. So if you were to upload, consumer to upload the driver's license, and then that information started the process, even if you were to remote deliver the car, you would still have a person's picture in your system that you could match against the person to whom you're delivering the car.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
I mean, that would help bridge that gap.
Yes.
Right?
So
you could, if I may, you could apply for credit, execute all the contracts online, upload all the documents online, and then go deliver the car remotely and still authenticate the person.
yes.
So that would be pretty great if you can actually scale it up to the cloud.
Yes. Actually, the current, it's a two-step process. When I take a photo, it uploads the photo, and the AI scans that uploaded photo, and then like takes the face from that one, and that's what it sets it up profile. So it doesn't need to be a photo. You can upload some document, and it still can be able to scan the document, and yes, this has a capability to do that.
The other thought I had that you, while you were talking is, so I'm here, I'm going to Jay's house and I'm gonna deliver the car to Jay, and I have Jay's photo, and maybe Jay got his driver's license 3 years ago, and I'm unsure. I can take his picture and then do the facial recognition match and make sure that it matches.
Yeah. Opportunities are endless, I think that's.
Yes. So that's what like this can be extended to even a dealership. Like when the customer goes and comes back again, he just need to stand before the kiosk. It takes his face and pulls all his record and for what are the previous car he visited and his details is possible. So that's what the first demo which I showed the fraud. What it does is that it takes the second photo, try to see if the customer already exists in our database, then tags his record, then match that record with this record, and that's how it found out the fraud, right? Instead of fraud, you can be the same customer going back, take his face, pull his record and show it in the kiosk, or dealer can take a photo of his face and he gets all his record and he can continue conversing with them.
Yeah,
Yes,
you know,
there's a lot of scope over here.
there's a lot of immediate applications, particularly the one thing that when we were meeting with the 4 members that they wanted to solve is the use case where a single person is trying to buy several cars at once. And it sounds as if with this real-time matching, right, that you could identify that before the contract is actually funded.
Yeah. Do you guys want to are we out of time, or how are we doing on time here? Because we have a few more slides to talk about how.
No, go ahead, please. I'll whatever I got, I'll get ready.
All right. Yeah. So the first part of the process here, which I had a lot of involvement with, was prototyping. Like I said, we first started with a signing app, and then it evolved into driver's license scan, which evolved to the assistant app that we have here. And this was created in Adobe XD that allows for like rapid prototyping. It gives you like an interactive way to kind of get through your screens and go through your workflow. So I feel like that really helped us. We had so many features that we wanted to put into this app that it really kind of helped us all like be centered and focused on a direction. So some of the technology that was used on the front end, we used Adobe XD, we used Angular, there's HTML5 and CSS used into it. We did use Cordova for the actual app, or was it Ionic?
Ionic and Cordova combined.
Ionic and Cordova combined to actually create the app. The SQRL, the Squirrel technology, which yep, it was all the authentication. And then, of course, for the back end, was Firebase, which was the real-time syncing. I think this is a Google service, right? So it's completely scalable. And then we used the Microsoft Cognitive Services for the facial recognition, machine learning kit, which there was a piece of that, and then Google Cloud, which is where I think we hosted our mock boot one environment, right?
Yes, and there's a Spring Boot and with Angular, that's also a part of this.
Yep. So I just want to take a moment to recognize everybody, because we all had some amazing talents to bring to the table here. Starting with Eugene, he focused a lot on the authentication piece, and there was a lot to it. He's really big into security, and he's the one that created the concept and the integrating the Squirrel technology, which was pretty cool. And then we have Meta, she helped with the QR generation, with the business card, and also the scanning piece of it. And then we have Sai, who helped a lot with the front end. He worked in Angular. He learned the Angular, how to use Angular, and him and I were working together to create the Route 1 environment, and how that's how we were able to not only use that synchronous database, but to present it synchronously too, and using that technology. And then Gopi, he was really championing just the machine learning and the AI systems and Firebase with the real-time sync. And just for myself, it was mainly just the user experience and the user interface of the project. So we had quite a team here. That's why we call ourselves the Code Avengers. We were all superheroes for sure.
Wow, well done, guys. Really, really well done. You guys should be very proud of what you produced.
Again, let me know when I can sell it. I'll get you some customers, I promise.
Jay, I think your two teams should get together and put these two products together.
I think so too, yeah, exactly. There's actually something on the roadmap already for driver's license scan. So we were just talking about it last week in the product meeting, and Justin mentioned it too, that we have capabilities in house. Instead of going and buy, we should try to think about building at least an MVP. So that is the whole point. I mean, these things are great ideas, innovative ideas. How to factor it into actual work that we do is the other part of it. So the more and more we do this and actually bring it in, that's how innovation actually pays off, right? So,
absolutely.
Guys did a great job. I mean, I'm amazed, and like we started this as a small idea, it grew to this level, and we're hoping that in a couple years down the line, this will be a huge event. Thanks for everything that you do. It was a great weekend, and I enjoyed everything, every bit of it here. So when you're having fun, you don't feel that you're working too hard. Like folks were here, like Meda came like at 9 p.m. or 9:30 p.m. one day, and like she's like, I've been here like 13, 14 hours, but I don't feel like I'm not tired. I don't feel like I've been here 12, 13 hours. So that's exactly what happens when your job is fun. It doesn't feel like a job. So thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well done.
Thanks, John.
Thanks for this opportunity too. Appreciate
Thank
that.
you again for inviting me.
Yep, indeed.
Great stuff.
Oh.